strong people, Kalle Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and I am the worst. I know I'm the worst. I am the worst strongman channel on YouTube because I asked you these questions for this Q&A 4 weeks ago, and I'm finally filming it, and it's probably going to be another 4 weeks before I even upload it. But if you've stuck with me, you expect me to promise things I don't deliver. But if you want it a little quicker, you can go to patreon.com/startingstrongman. Check out the incentives. You can get free not free, but you can get training programs, consultations, stickers, and it helps me make more videos. Because right now, it's kind of just not worth it, except for the enjoyment you get out of watching me talk to a camera. Anyways, on to the questions. Do you have any good grip training exercises or tips? I have a horrible grip. Look at how small my hands are. They're like the Burger King guy. But main thing I'll say is make sure to grip a barbell correctly. So instead of just like, here's a can, La Croix. This is how boring and how like, this is my life. I drink a La Croix for enjoyment instead of water. I should just drink soda. It's not like I'm ripped. I look like someone who drinks soda. Anyways, instead of just grabbing it, something, twist into the farmer's walk and yank on it. And it didn't really work with the can, and that's going to make bad photoshops. So make sure you're just gripping barbells correctly. The other thing, if we're talking about grip as far as it leads over to strongman, you have to understand the different types of grip. There's pinch grip, there's supporting grip, there's crushing strength grip, and there's a whole bunch of other grips I don't care about. And the main one you need, there's carryover to all of them, but the main one you need in strongman is just a holding strength. You need to hold things for a long time. Hercules hold, farmer's walks, other things. So how do you train that? By doing that specific thing. So some of the things I like to do, hang from a pull-up bar for time. Also great for your shoulders. Great, just helps decompress the body, build stability in the this and the this and the that, and just let yourself hang. Good for your scapula. Just do that. You can hang from a thick bar. You can hang from towels. You can put weight attached to your hips or wherever. Yeah, that's a good one. And just do long distance farmer's walks. You can do multiple picks with farmer's walks. You can do farmer's walks with fat handles. Just anything where you're holding heavier things for longer periods of time, and be patient with it. If you want more on grip specific stuff, I suggest checking out my buddy Clay Edgin at SwoleBiz, B-I-Z-E, Swole, on Instagram, and he has like a podcast. I think it's called Grip Bros, or at least he did. He even has like a grip program you can follow. So he knows more about it than me, and he always teases me about my grip. But he has hands that are this big, and I have hands that are this big. But at least I'm good looking. Do you think we will ever see an athlete win 6 World's Strongest Man titles? Or will future strongman be too competitive to see the sort of winning streaks we saw with Big Z, Brian Shaw, Mariusz Pudzianowski, etc.? Oh, man. I would have thought Halfcore could do it. But he probably should have had like 3 titles by now. And he's, I think, basically retired at this point. Definitely retired from World's Strongest Man. And someone like Kielszkowski could do it, I think, but I mean, never say never, but at this point, I just think no. And I think part of the problem is, and Zydrunas Civic has said this when I interviewed him a few years ago, is it's just harder to have a long career now because everything's so heavy. And there's so many more contests and so many opportunities that you have to take. And honestly, World's Strongest Man pays shit. So you're not going to have an athlete not do the Arnold, World's Ultimate Strongman, Dubai, etc., because they get fucking pennies at World's Strongest Man. If you won like $300,000 at World's Strongest Man, like you do the CrossFit Games, maybe. But until World's Strongest Man pays what it should, no athlete's going to prioritize it enough to win that many times, even if they were capable. that's my thoughts. If you put on a strongman contest, what would the events be? I have put on strongman contests, and the events were, we did an overhead medley, so it was like axle, log, circus dumbbell for reps. I like medleys like that where you rep something out at the end. We did an arm over arm semi-truck pull. Big fan of truck pulls. They're just cool looking. We did a stone series because stone series are way cooler than other things. One year we did some sort of chain drag, and we did a deadlift medley with a bunch of different things. And we also did an 18-inch deadlift for max. So I just did a couple, standard events, made sure that they were good, not like stone over bar, not the easy ways. But yeah, basically what I did, I think, let's just go California Strongest Woman. Year one was overhead medley when you rep out at the end, because it's fair I like that, because I don't like it when it's a split time on medleys at the end, because it's just I don't know. Then we did 18-inch deadlift for max, which is funny because I did a max deadlift, but we had cool implements. That's the key. We had wheels and boxes. Then we did a arm over arm truck pull with a big old truck, and that just looks badass. We did like some sort of farmers into a yoke or something like that. So there's a good moving event, but it was 2 parts. So I don't like it when they're straight shot. And we did an Atlas Stone series because stone over bar for reps looks dumb. Stone series are cool. 5 stone series, and then and it worked out perfect. The crowd loved it because, like, in every class there was 1 or 2 women that loaded the last stone. Everyone understands when people go and no one gets it, then someone gets it. And for reps, no one really cares if someone did 13 reps and someone did 12. It's boring. Off-season question. Focus on 1 or at most 2 lifts to squeeze the most out of it, or go for less gains overall lifts, like spread on a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. You should always train. So if you're doing strongman, it's simple. You need to get good at pressing things, pulling things, moving with things, and loading things. And there's little details in between. So if you focus on just some of those, you're probably going to get bad at the other stuff. But just do those 5 things and do it. And I think it depends on the athlete. There's some athletes that are very statically strong and they suck at moving and they suck at events. So they should prioritize those a little bit and do a little bit more maintenance on their static lifts. And then there's some people that are more athletic that come by moving well and moving with weights well, but like their log press and deadlift suck. So they should just do little runs, just less volume, to address those weaknesses. Just to keep it up. Still do some farmer's walk, nothing crazy, but they should prioritize their static lifts. And that's how I've trained probably over 1,000 people in strongman at this point, and just about everyone falls into one of those 2 camps as far as approaching off season. And how to know if you're good or not is you go out and compete. And if you haven't competed yet and you're asking me about an off season, that doesn't make any sense, because what are you taking off from? Just go out and compete, and you look at where did I lose the most points and prioritize those things. And where did you gain the most points? Make sure to still give them effort and get better at them, but not as much. Your pick for the winner of World's Strongest Man 2020. I hope it happens, and the thing I worry about is the international travel, because we all know Florida is crazy enough to have a contest in November or December or whenever it is. But is it just going to be America's Strongest Man with people? Or anyways, let's just assume everyone's coming and everything's somewhat back to normal. And I've always made this, I do this constantly. I did this for a long time, where there's 2 people, they're competing against each other a lot, and I always pick one, and then the other one would always win. And every time I go, why didn't I just pick that one? And I'm talking about Mateusz Kieliszkowski. Damn, it's been a long time since I've said that. I'm probably no better at it. And Martins Lisis. And every time I go, it's going to be Kieliszkowski. It's going to be Kieliszkowski. And then Martins won. So my initial thought is, I think this is Kieliszkowski's year. And I think it probably would have been, because there's no Hafthor Bjornsson. He's off gallivanting and promoting a boxing fight. Who would... Yeah, let's see people do something they've never done or aren't known for. Let's see people do the thing they're the best at in the world. Oh, well. Strongman's loss. I would have said, because Martins was so beat up, so injured, but the pandemic, the shutdown, not having to do shows all the time, I think he's actually going to be healthy. And we saw a healthy Martins capitalize and win last year. So in my head, I go, oh, Kielskowski's going to win. But I do this every time. So I'm going to say Martins Licis, who no one gave enough credit for winning World's Strongest Man, even though he's one of the best well-rounded strongman that we've had in a long time. And he should be someone everyone cheers for, because he is the kind of person who, while he's still a great athlete, you should look at him and go, he gives me hope that I could accomplish something like that someday. Maybe not World's Strongest Man, but maybe something a little below it. I could be a pro strongman. Martins is the everyman strongman. There's nothing real flashy about him. He's kind of goofy, very goofy, especially if you've known him. He's not 7 feet tall. He's not 400 pounds. He's not 4 feet tall. He's just right. He's the perfect strongman. And I think Martins Licis is going to win. He's so well-rounded. Has no real holes. I think his biggest weakness is that he's not one of those genetic freaks that can do these kind of weights and not get hurt. But he's rebuilding everything. And if he comes in healthy, I think he's going to win. My initial brain always says Kielskowski, and I still think that's possible. But I'm going to go off of my past mistakes for, just like you, underestimating Martins, someone I've known, a long time. I was at his first show, was the first time I ever won California's Strongest Man as a lightweight, under 200 pounds. And I feel bad all the times I didn't pick him, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. I'd rather be wrong by picking Martins, just because I have to go. I have to. So, Martins Licis, 2020 World's Strongest Man, Coronavirus Edition. I like this one. This is partially a joke, but do you think we will ever see a Viking press at a World's Strongest Man final again after all the drama from 2017? Only if Eddie Hall comes out of retirement. What is your opinion on using strongman training for general population? Example, not competitive athletes. What essential exercises / implements would you include, and what is better to avoid? So I wrote an article about this in 2012 called 3 Movements to Make You a Stronger Man or Woman on Juggernaut Training Systems. You can just Google what I just said, and it'll come up. And would I look as far as, I'm not going to give you, I will, but I'm going to explain how you should look at these events. I go, what has the most carryover athletically or, physique-wise, etc.? What takes the least amount of learning curve to learn, and what has the least chance of injury? And on the flip side, what to avoid, what has the most chance of injury, what is the most technical and hardest to learn, and what has the least athletic benefit. So what I put is, I think farmers walks, sled drags, and sandbags are the best kind of movements for just general population to make you be better. Farmers walks, absolute number one. Your grip is going to fail before anything else, 9 times out of 10. It's pretty accessible. You can do it with anything. It doesn't have to be farmer's walk bar. It can be dumbbells. It can be, everyone's been training without a gym for a little bit now. We've all got creative. You just carry things. There's huge athletic benefits. You train your grip. You get forearms. You get traps. You get back. You get it all. It's not too taxing as far as, it's not like a yoke would be on the opposite end on similar vein, where a yoke, I feel like, has limited athletic benefit, is way more technical, because once you put the bar on your back and you take a misstep, when the farmer's in your hands, it's not just crushing your spine, and if you take a misstep, you end up dropping them, where the yoke, you can just snail pace along and struggle with a weight that's way too heavy for you while you lose your bracing, and it's just ugly. I've seen really ugly things happen with yoke, especially from beginners, and it's way more technical of an event. It's why when I do seminars, I teach people how to yoke and rarely do farmer's walk, because once they learn how to yoke, they're going to understand how to move with weight holding it in their hands. So those would be two events where, if I'm just taking a general population person, not saying I wouldn't use the yoke, because sometimes the whole point of training is to make it fun, and sometimes to do fun things, you have to make it different. Same reason why I look for 13 hours a day on different trucks to buy that I'm never going to buy, because variety is the spice of life. So, and the same with sandbags. I think that, you can teach someone to do triple extension with a sandbag in a matter of minutes, so you get a lot of the benefits of like Olympic weightlifting, snatch and clean and jerk, which are very technical movements. They're easier to make. They're not as hard on gyms because they don't break floors. There's no tacky to clean up. Atlas stones are horrible if you own a gym. Horrible. They just cause problems. They take up tons of space. They cause damage to floors. People use tacky everywhere. I don't understand why any gym owner would have Atlas stones or allow them in their gym. And all the gym owners are going to agree with me, and all the people that aren't gym owners are going to go, I thought you were a strongman channel. Where sandbags, a lot easier to learn, less technical. Same basic benefits as far as athletics or physique-wise to a sandbag. And there you go. And sled drags, same thing. Hard to do it wrong, hard to get hurt. Anyone can get hurt doing anything. And I would say a runner-up in there would be log press, just because I feel like the neutral grip is so much, even though it's a very technical movement, the neutral grip is a lot better on people's shoulders than doing a barbell here, easier. And there's so much benefits of it being big, where it just lights up your back. It lights up your serratus, etc. So yeah, those are my recommendations. This question is the one that I would think would get all the views on YouTube, because this is the kind of thing people on YouTube care about. How strong is it possible to get naturally? Or how strong is it possibly to get naturally? How naturally strong is it to get possible? How you wrote that question confuses me, but I understand what you're saying. How strong can you get naturally? How strong is it possible? Wow. Well, so I think this is a very, very poor way to think. And I understand, because when I was 17, 18, 19, and I was getting serious in strength training, I thought the same way. And what I've learned from being in a sport which is not natural at all, being around a lot of people that do a lot of things, and doing things myself, is that there are people that have went to World's Strongest Man fairly recently, done well, done better than people that have taken basically Captain America super serum, just fucking crazy amounts of shit, and gotten there naturally. We're not all created equal. The way to look at training is not to compare like, well, this person can do that, so I can. I hate to break it to you, life is not fair. I am 5'7". I was about 186 pounds when I started strongman training, all natty, had low testosterone levels. My levels were about 320. And with competing in the sport of strongman and everything that comes with competing in the sport of strongman, if you've been around for a while, and you've tried to exhaust every avenue on how good you can get, I got bigger then lighter, and I got up to pressing at 186 pounds again, but very different looking physique. I could do a 300-pound farmer's walk, a 600-pound deadlift, a 900-pound 18-inch deadlift, loaded a 350, maybe it was 330 pound stone, and 290 pound log. And that was not natural. Not natural. Naturally, when I think I got up to a mid 500 pound deadlift. I think I did 550 before I ever did anything. So how much did that help me? 50 pounds on my deadlift. Not a lot. Other people, it helps much more. They're able to progress higher. But but there's also people that I know that were the same size as me that I competed against, well, not natural, that had about the same physique as me, that were natural, or maybe even a better physique, that had deadlifted over 700 pounds. Could have I gotten to 700 pounds naturally? I don't think so. But that's me. This was my own personal journey. Yes, when you get into competition, you can say they shouldn't be allowed or not. That's your own decision. That's your own choice. I was competing in the reality that it's not against the rules. But once that person who I did not believe they had never done any sort of steroids. Because if you looked at this person, you would have thought they took twice as many drugs as me, right? And the only reason I do believe it is because when I was talking to them and they said, hey, I started taking this, they got freaky. So much more. Like, I'm talking crazy numbers for, someone, basically my size. Way more. They gained a lot more than 50 pounds on their deadlift because they just had different genetics than me, and life is not fair. And I don't care that, I did what I did to get where I was, and actually, placed above them at that contest, but that wasn't a talent reason. They were probably a better strongman than me, honestly, natural. And I think the person who won that contest, I can't confirm, was also natural, who beat people that were taking 3 times as much stuff as me. And that's life. There's just people, they started sports younger, they have better genetics. So the way I looked at it is I wanted to see how strong I could possibly be, and I did what I needed to do that. I knew it would have ate at me my whole life if I didn't. And there's other people who go, that's not worth it. And I think, honestly, looking back, it's not worth it. I got in bad health. There's bad benefits. See, there's lots of benefits, but there's lots of negatives to that. There's lots of people that were able to get stronger than I ever was naturally, but I don't care. I wanted to know what I could do. And this is what it's all about. It's about you. There's, like someone like Brian Shaw, he's probably stronger than me and better strongman than me when he was 13. Then if I took beast levels of stuff, right? Just like crazy. Still never going to be better than him. Like, he picked up the inch dumbbell just like a college kid. Like, just picked it up. I've never done that. Never going to be able to do that. But what's it matter? Don't compare yourself to stupid people like me on YouTube and what you can or can't accomplish. Because I used to do the same thing. I'd be like, oh, well, that person, it can be good, but reality is everyone's going to let you down as far as that goes. And it's really should be about your own personal journey. And there's certain mindsets that people have that make them want to or not want to do things. And then there's mindsets that make them go, no, that's never worth it. I just want to do it this way. I don't think it's right or wrong either way, but you shouldn't judge other people. You can not be fans of them, but it shouldn't make you hate them. If they're big old liars, maybe, because that stuff's annoying. But you'd be surprised the people, based on what they lift and how they look, that are natural, and the people, based on how they look and what they don't lift, that aren't. Because sometimes there's some people that are no good at all that do huge amounts of stuff. And then there's people that are really good that don't do a thing. And there's people that barely do anything that are some of the best strongman you've ever seen. So it's just a bad mindset to be in, to think about what is possible, or if I'm 5'4" and I'm 16 years old, do you think I could ever do this? Go fucking find out. How strong can I get naturally? It's all about the journey. Go find out. Get to a point where you think that journey's boring and do something else. But get your blood work done. If you ever think about doing anything, before you do it, get your blood work done, and don't be an idiot, because there is downsides, lots of them. Nick Maple, and I like this question, not in the strongman vein, but favorite comedian. I have a lot of favorite comedians. I love stand-up comedy. I'm going to list a couple of my favorites. I love Tom Segura, Bill Burr, Jim Norton, Louis C.K., rest in peace. But this is a hard one for me. Dave Chappelle, of course. He's so prolific. So I would say at one point Louis. That's probably my wife's favorite comedian. Still. Big fan of Bill Burr. I've seen all these people in person. But my favorite comedian of all time, and I go by who has made me laugh by myself more. Also love Joey Diaz. Love Joey Diaz. I'd say he's probably number 2. But my favorite comedian of all time, I've seen Joey Diaz in person too, which was just fucking insanity. It was just crazy. He's a maniac. But I saw Patrice O'Neal before he died, and I literally fell out of my chair. I was rolling in the aisle, and I think his stand-up special, Elephant in the Room, is amazing. And I used to listen to him on Opie and Anthony, and no one has ever made me laugh more. Joey Diaz is second. I think they're very much in the same vein, but I think as far as constructing an actual stand-up special, I think Patrice is ahead of Joey Diaz, where Joey Diaz is just a naturally funny person who's just so insane. It's fun to watch. But yeah, I'd say Patrice O'Neal is my favorite comedian of all time. And it just sucks when people that give you so much entertainment and joy like that die. And I'd love to hear what he'd have to say about what the fuck is going on in the world right now.